difference is he gave me just the resolution to read, and we're back live.
Resolution wasn't in the packet.
No, and there was a note on the agenda, consent to transfer and a resolution regarding the assessment. It's not here yet. I just didn't have it.
This is it. You want to pick that one?
Yes, settlement between Pleasant Pines and Marsh Creek. The litigation is over and both parties have settled. We have received from the Pleasant Pines and Marsh Creek, the settlement agreement, which the city has agreed to. We have a resolution to read. It'll be resolution 2025-15, a resolution regarding the vacation of the city's adoption of assessments against. Whereas the city of Menahga and Pleasant Pine Acres LLC and Marsh Creek LLC are parties to a civil action captioned Pleasant Pine Acres LLC, Marsh Creek LLC versus City of Menahga, Wadena County, court file number 80-CV-24-689, in parentheses, the action. Whereas the City of Menahga City Council assessed a sum of $24,864.52 to Pleasant Pines LLC related to the delinquent utility bills, in parentheses, the assessment. Whereas the City of Menahga and Pleasant Pine Acres LLC and Marsh Creek LLC intend to enter into a settlement agreement on June 30th, 2025. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council that under Minnesota Statutes 429.071, subdivision 2, upon the advice of the municipal attorney, an assessing authority may make supplemental assessments to correct omissions, errors, or mistakes. And number 2, based upon the advice from its legal counsel, the City of Menahga City Council does hereby vacate the assessment. Adopted by the City Council of the City of Menahga, Minnesota, on this day, the 30th day of June, 2025.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Bill, any discussion? All in favor?
Just one quick question. So this document was crafted by our attorney?
Correct.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign, resolution's carried.
Next, I just want to point out that there's a statement, an affirmation of compliance to note that Mr. Schnelldecker does hereby affirm and state as follows. I'm just going to read this verbatim into record. 1, I'm authorized to make this affirmation on behalf of Pleasant Pine Acres LLC. 2, Pleasant Pine Acres LLC has been in compliance with the provisions set forth in Exhibit D of the development agreement by and between the City of Menahga, Minnesota and Pleasant Pine Acres LLC, in parentheses, development agreement, from the date the development agreement was enacted until the date of sale of Pleasant Pine Acres LLC. A copy of the applicable Appendix D is attached hereto as Exhibit A and incorporated by reference. This affirmation is provided to the City of Menahga, Minnesota as a condition of and in connection with matters related to the development agreement. And this was something that we were looking for.
Yep.
And you have it on your particular calendar to look for the same kind of affirmation from the new owner?
So we will require a representative from DH Capital to come here to the city to sign some of these documents. During that time, we're gonna lay out to him a schedule of when we need these, and really, if we don't get the certificate from him, then we're just not cutting a check, is what we're gonna do. Yes, so there is a memorandum that I have included. You'll look at the comments, last sentence. This assignment does not impact the city's rights under the development agreement or the TIF note. And that was a statement that we were looking for to ensure that everything's being done by the book and that they're okay with this transfer. There is a resolution in here approving and authorizing the execution of assignment and assumption of rights and obligations agreement. I will read it. This will be resolution 2025-14, resolution approving and authorizing the execution of assignment and assumption of rights and obligations agreement. A, whereas the city of Menahga, Minnesota, in parentheses, the city entered into a development agreement dated July 1, 2013, in parentheses, the development agreement with Pleasant Pine Acres LLC, a Minnesota limited liability company, in parentheses, the developer. Whereas the developer desires to attain its interest in the development agreement and the TIF note.
Pain or sign. Did I
Where,
miss something here? Are you in B or where?
I was in B.
I read assign. Did you say attain?
Desires to assign.
Okay.
Okay, whereas the developer desires to assign its interest in the development agreement and the TIF note as defined in the development agreement pursuant to an assignment and assumption of rights and obligations agreement, in parentheses, the assignment, by and between the developer and DH Capital LLC, a Minnesota limited liability company. Whereas a draft of the assignment has been submitted to the city council of the city for approval. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the city council of the city of Menahga, Minnesota, as follows. 1, the city council hereby approves the assignment in this substantially the form submitted, and the mayor and city clerk treasurer are hereby authorized and directed to execute the assignment on behalf of the city. 2, the approval hereby given to the assignment includes approval of such additional details therein as may be necessary and appropriate, and such modifications thereof, deletions therefrom, and additions thereto as may be necessary and appropriate by approved by the city officials authorized by this resolution to execute the assignment. The execution of the assignment by the appropriate officer or officers of the city shall be conclusive evidence of the approval of the assignment in accordance with the terms hereof. Adopted this the 30th day of June, 2025.
Motion to approve the resolution. Bill?
Yeah.
Second,
Second.
discussion,
And here again, this is crafted by our attorney.
This was crafted by Taft.
those in favor say aye.
Uh,
Opposed, same sign, resolution carried. Yeah, it's consent or just.
We'll sign.
Sourcewell need impact funding program.
yeah, I requested that Jody put this on the agenda just to inform the full council after doing some research on it. And I know you're aware of the Brad, maybe Jody too, but there's a program that Sourcewell has put in place, and you probably can speak to that more than I, but I think with the amount of money Sourcewell is making, and I think they're allocating more funds being available to townships and municipalities in their 5-county region. And I think we need to be aware that there are opportunities for this city to maybe capture some of that monies to do projects. I don't know if the beer cave would have been part of it, but other infrastructure things similar to the new roof on here. There's other projects that maybe we can offset some of the liability to the taxpayers if we were able to capture some of that money. And I think it would be prudent for us maybe for either Brett to investigate further, or maybe even have Sourcewell send a representative up here to talk to us directly so that we're all in the loop.
I would prefer that if we could get a Sourcewell rep to a council meeting.
Yeah,
to discuss
What's her name?
what they offer, what.
Brandy, what's her name?
I don't know the people down there at all.
I'm sure they'd be willing to come to a meeting and
I know I'm on the educational side of Sourcewell. I don't know about the municipality side that deals
I'm
with.
sure they would, you can get a hold.
Oh, yeah, no, I got a great relationship with, quite a few of them, and they're always willing to come out to cities and, talk to us.
Heather Brandine, I think it's her name.
If somebody was available on the 14th, that would be.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be educational for us just to see, and so we can stay on top of, especially if it's monies that they're willing to give out to townships and municipal governments such as ourselves.
Oh,
But I think you'd have to have a project too that you're gonna say we're gonna use this money for, right?
Yeah, we have to give them, because we use this, for the Jaws of Life for the fire department, which was a pretty substantial capital purchase. And, you know, we had to give them justification and, you know, a plan essentially for how we're getting this and what we're doing.
Would they help fund some of the turnout gear for the fire department, or was that, I don't know what specifically you have to do, or is it more
For
infrastructure?
a new roof.
Well, this roof on here would be a big one.
Well, that's where I think if we can get that rep up here, we can ask directly,
Okay.
ask those questions.
Yeah.
You know, from them, we'll get it straight from the horse's mouth that way. Nothing
Yeah.
lost in translation.
no, it's a great idea. I think the more we know, you know, they say knowledge is power, right? I mean, gotta know what's out there so we can capitalize on that.
Well, there's, what is it in Wadena? Is it CETA or what is it down there where, I know there's money for Wadena County, but none of it ever seems to end up at this end of the county. It always seems to stay down that way. Just to get our fingers in that too. All right, and then we've got a copy of the updated personnel policy with the change log on the front of it. These are things that, as the personnel representatives went through. Brett's went through, so he's got a log of all the changes that we're suggesting. This gives you guys a couple weeks to.
Do you want to go through those changes tonight, or are we gonna
No,
do it another
we're just presenting it, so you have a copy of it, gives you a couple weeks, we'll go through it on the 14th.
Yes,
If you have questions, get with Brett, if there's something that doesn't make sense.
I don't like that approach. Because the other council members don't hear the answer. Now, one way that can work is contact Brett, but when he replies, have him reply to all council members, restate the question asked, and then give the answer.
That's fine.
That way, everybody is getting the answer.
I can plug it into the Friday update.
That way we could get through a lot of it, probably a lot of the questions. And not spend 3 hours at a council meeting. There's a lot of information here.
Yeah, there is.
So are we in good legal standing with all these changes? I mean, has it been reviewed by legal?
So what the idea is for us to look through, the council to look through this and see what everybody thinks. Does this make sense? Does this work for us? When we get it dialed into what everybody agrees on, then it'll get sent off to legal. Then they'll put their stamp.
And then I'm gonna send legal all of our change log as well. Just so they have something that's to reference as they're going through it, because it's a huge document.
And it has huge ramifications too,
Absolutely.
because it could put the city in jeopardy if something isn't worded.
And I want to make sure legal knows that. So any changes or additions that we put in there, he's gonna be able to find it and check it.
Yeah, everything's highlighted in here and on the change log.
What's the difference between the coloring highlighting? Some blue, some orange, what?
So if I sent it to
red,
you in a
some
word,
yellow, what's the difference?
so some of the highlights were from when Diane initially did a read on it. The blue is from the original person that first touched it. The red is mine, and that's only because it's track changes in Microsoft Word. So if I send it to you, Mike, it might assign you like beige. And then,
The red is your input, Brett?
yes,
Okay. Who is the blue?
blue, I can't remember her name, one of the original attorneys at Flaherty.
Attorney.
Oh, it was an attorney.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cause there's a huge section that's all,
There.
that she added like 3 pages
It's
that
how we
were
went from
mandated, like it has
38
to be.
pages to 84 pages.
Yes.
Holy schmoly, that's a lot of words.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things have changed since 2014 though, too. That's when our last personnel policy was in, so.
Yeah, no, that's good info, where that came from.
When somebody sends you a question and you're gonna reply and you're gonna restate the question and send it back to all of us, Brett, please don't just bury it in your Friday report.
No, I was,
But do a separate email.
I'm sorry, Mike, please.
Yeah, do a separate email on that issue back to us. Cause like myself, I create a folder and I save stuff like that to that folder, so I can go back later and review.
What I will do as soon as I get the question, and when I answer it, it'll just be that one question to one answer, send.
Yeah.
Okay.
And restate the question,
Yes.
because if Bill sends you a question, I'm not gonna know what the question was.
And then you'll just keep that feed.
Yeah.
Everybody will just be on that one.
Yeah, just if you reply to it, reply to
Just-
this, don't reply. all.
Everyone here will be blind copied, so you're not gonna know. who I sent this to.
Don't reply all. Just
Oh,
reply
I
to
know
Brett.
that. I know that. You gotta reply just to
You're gonna be blind copied,
Brett,
so. Yeah.
and then Brett, if he replies to the reply, he'll reply to all of us.
Yes. Right, okay.
So just another comment to that too. So with the personnel rep committee, which you two are a part of, and with Brett, so you're working on behalf of the city and the council to do your due diligence from a managerial perspective, that we're
Right,
not conceding, we're not negotiating, we're
right.
stating a,
We didn't give anything away. We followed the union on a couple of things because it lined up. So we had 3 different things. We're trying to get a little more centralized here. And we're trying to actually it'll save some for the city once we do some of these things. But if you guys digest this for the couple of weeks, at the 14th, we'll go through. And then if we need more time, we'll come back in August. So we want this to be agreed upon, well laid out document before it goes to the lawyer. And then if there's changes, it'll come back to us again and we'll go from there.
yeah, just adding to what I just said. So we're not doing the bidding for the people that aren't part of the unions, because we're not trying to, you said you're trying to align with some of the verbiage from some of the contracts.
Like, no, so like one of the things in here, we had 2 separate pay periods. Makes no sense. It's a nightmare.
All the
So,
clerical stuff you're trying to.
so we went to what the union had as their work week, because it's already in their contract and it doesn't affect anything for anybody else. It's just simplifying.
And it's so crazy because one contract says we'll do what the city does, but one union says, no, we're only doing it this way. So if we just change that one clerical thing to the way that this union's doing it, then suddenly it's just easier across the board for
Just
everybody.
comply with them because they're non-negotiable.
I don't
We
know,
can-
Jody, if filing this on the 14th would be a good idea, because we have budget on the 14th also. I think it could get to be kind of a heavy load.
Most of this could be done and ironed out. You're saying you've got a couple weeks to.
Right, we've got 2 weeks, like, that's why I say if you have questions and you get them to Brett and he answers all, we'll all know what's going on. I think we can make quite a bit of headway. And then if it's still a lot of stuff that we haven't got through, we'll go to the next meeting. Yeah, there's not a rush to get this done. I mean, I don't want it to be a rush thing. I want it to be a well thought out
Yeah,
document.
because this document carries a lot of weight.
And we need a decade out of it, really. And it'll be a policy. So if we get changes, we can update it as we go, but it'll be like a one time, maybe once I would say probably realistically once a year, we would look at it, review it. So
As
I don't,
laws change, you know, not like the CST stuff was changed already this year from last year.
exactly.
All right, let's take care of that and we get on with the bills.
I'm gonna pass up to Mike, please.
I just did a quick review of the bills there and I just saw a couple, I can't even remember the ones, but there was like a exact numbers for three entries. And then there was a total. Is that something we talked about before? I didn't quite understand it.
We split like water, sewer.
Okay, that answered my question. Thank you.
So then.
I don't need it. Yep, I got it. My recall come back. So we're good. We're all good.
Anything else?
Need to pay $200,465.75 total.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So, here. All right, that will bring us to the closed session, labor negotiations, feedback and report. City council will meet in closed session pursuant to Minnesota statute 13D.03 subdivision 1B, police union. Purpose of the closed session is to review and consider proposals and strategies for the city's position in ongoing collective bargaining and negotiation. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, man. Canceled the statement or anything after that, or?
It'll be off stream, but yes, there'll be a statement.
Okay,
I'll have him get it to you.
thanks. No, you shut it or no?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
And just for house cleaning, we are going to go off stream. There's no other business other than this closed session. We will adjourn after we're out of closed session. So thank you, everybody, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Closed session, closed session.